Hey, Dr. Amy here, and in this video, I'm sharing with you the cancer warning signs that I completely missed. Even as someone who spends their entire day focused in oncology, I completely overlooked these symptoms. I do not want you to make the same mistake. Let's dive in. Here are the 5 symptoms that actually led to my own personal cancer diagnosis. I was completely not expecting this. Now, people have told me not to share these symptoms. I've received messages that say it's dangerous to put this information out there. But this is what honestly happened to me, and it could happen to you. Some people don't like women sharing their experiences or symptoms of cancer because they think that every time someone gains weight or gets heartburn, well, they're automatically gonna think it's cancer. But realistically, we need to communicate with one another our experiences and our symptoms so we know what to look out for. You need to be in tune with your body. So if this video upsets you, I'm okay with that because it could save your life. I do not want you to make the same mistake as me. So here are the 5 symptoms I completely missed before I was diagnosed with cancer. Starting with number 1. Weight gain. Now, this first symptom can be completely disregarded by your physician or even by yourself. Now, changes in your weight, this is something that naturally happens. It happens to us all the time. Fluctuations in your weight because eating differently or exercising differently, or even if you're at different places in your menstrual cycle. It's all super common. But here is what happened to me and why this is different. I was diagnosed just 6 weeks after my wedding. It was a really short time frame, so let me show you exactly how my symptoms rolled out. After getting married, we went on an amazing honeymoon to Italy. Now, when you travel to Italy, you must experience the food. And we did. We ate pizza and pasta and gelato. It was amazing. So naturally, I had gained a little bit of weight, which is totally okay, and it was what I was expecting. But when I got home, I jumped back into my normal routine. I went to the gym, I ate healthy, I was doing all the right things, but I was not losing any weight. And if anything, I was gaining weight. I was doing all the right things, so I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and decided to carry on. I mean, gaining 5 pounds or so isn't really something to run to the doctor over. Okay, so I tried to stay positive, continue with my lifestyle, but this next symptom I couldn't ignore. This is what started triggering a fear that something wasn't right. Hey, Dr. Amy here. Want to interrupt this video to give you a little bit of cancer recovery and remission advice. If you really want to fully and completely recover from cancer, really close the door on cancer for good, well, then you have to get a plan in place. Okay, that's why I'm linking up below the 30-day anti-cancer plan. Now, this is a step-by-step guide of exactly what you need to do with your food, your exercise, your mindset for the next 30 days. This is a brilliant place to start, and you can get started instantly today. Click the link below. The second symptom I completely missed was difficulty swallowing. Now, this symptom I really did not expect. Thinking back to the time leading up to my diagnosis, I started experiencing difficulty swallowing. It's like food would get kind of caught in my throat. At the time, I was very active. Exercise and working out multiple times a week. I was eating healthy. I mean, I was doing all the right things. I've always been health conscious, making sure I ate enough of the right foods. But I was really struggling to get food down. It was uncomfortable eating at times. I mean, it wasn't all the time, it would come and go, but it was definitely noteworthy. Now, this difficulty swallowing was something that was completely new to me. It was something I had never experienced before. Now, in hindsight, we do know that certain types of tumors are associated with trouble swallowing food or even liquid. So when I noticed this difficulty swallowing, I started asking some questions. I brought these concerns to my doctor. She said that the next step would be an invasive type of procedure, a scope, to look down my throat. This would investigate further. But I was young and I was healthy, and this type of procedure seemed too invasive. I mean, I was just occasionally having some minor swallowing issues. That seemed over the top. So I opted not to proceed. At the time, I thought these problems were minor. It just seemed really unnecessary. Obviously, I was wrong. Now, obviously, everyone's cancer journey or experience, it's different. There are some typical signs that some might experience as an indicator of cancer, like a lump on a self-breast examination. But what about ovarian cancer? There's no detection method for ovarian cancer. All you can do is monitor for the common signs and symptoms. For ovarian cancer, there is no screening methods at all. A popular blood test called the CA-125, it's been tried and tested, but it's really inconsistent and isn't always an indicator of ovarian cancer. It's just not reliable enough to use for screening women. A client of mine in the Cancer Freedom Program, well, her CA-125 level was totally normal and she had a recurrence of ovarian cancer. This is just one example of the CA-125 level being useless. Another misconception that women often have is that a pap test will screen for ovarian cancer. Just attending your annual physical with your doc, that doesn't actually mean you've been screened for ovarian cancer. Now, I also didn't have like the typical symptoms of ovarian cancer. Things like changes in my bowel or weight loss or painful sex. Nothing like that at all. But I did have this symptom, and this was the one that finally pushed me to go back to my doctor: heartburn. Another symptom I experienced was constant heartburn, and I am talking all the time. No matter what I ate, when I ate, it didn't matter what I did. I was always experiencing heartburn. I had antacids with me wherever I went because I would always need them. It was so uncomfortable. It felt like nothing was going to solve it. It was so incredibly weird because I had never had any symptoms of heartburn before. There's no reason why this should come up out of nowhere. But when I speak to fellow cancer survivors, they say the exact same thing, that they've gone through the same experience, that heartburn has come out of nowhere. The next symptom I completely ignored was bloating. Bloating is definitely a more common symptom in terms of ovarian cancer, but what I was experiencing wasn't alarming. It was pretty mild. I was finding myself bloated, but I couldn't necessarily pin it to any specific food. But many of my friends would say the same thing when they were eating. It seemed like a problem that a lot of people had, so I didn't worry about it that much. Okay. But on to my next symptom, and this one truly saved my life. Trust your intuition. You really need to trust your gut. At the end of the day, if you know something feels wrong, something isn't right, then you owe it to yourself to push further. Because really, you know your body best. Doctors and nurses, they're experts within their field, but you are an expert in your body, and you're the only one. Now, for me, that intuition presented as a gut feeling, but also as anxiety. I know how this can sound, like so many people have anxiety and they don't have cancer. But deep down, and in conjunction with these other symptoms, I knew something wasn't right. I had to trust myself and listen to my gut and bring this to my doctor. I also had the fear of, what if I waited? Then what? Talking to other cancer survivors, they feel the same. Anxiety and this sense of doom before you're ever diagnosed. It's hard to explain, and it's not triggered by anything that they can identify. Every day I have people reaching out to me, asking me about their diagnosis and their treatments. My response is, if you're having doubts, that is valid, and you owe it to yourself to seek out a second opinion. After all, this is your life and your health. Without it, you don't have anything at all. Okay, so now that you know the symptoms of cancer that I miss, the next thing you need to know is how to stay cancer-free. That's why I'm linking up this next video for you here. Click the link here and I'll see you in the next video.